Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are diving into dead letter topics in Apache Pulsar, a crucial feature for handling failed messages. Plus, I will show you how to migrate existing data from an old service to a new one using Pulsar. Let's get started. Pulsar's dead letter topics safely store and handle failed messages, allowing us to inspect and retry them without data loss. Here is the flow. Consumer subscribes to a topic and processes messages. If a message fails multiple times, Pulsar moves it to a dead letter topic. A separate dead letter topic consumer listens, logs, and optionally retries these failed messages. Let's check out how I've implemented the dead letter topics in my Django application using Pulsar. In our base consumer, we set up a dead letter topic when initializing all other consumers, such as order and user. To support dead letter handling, we extend our schema's dictionary to include both the main topics and their corresponding dead letter topics. This allows our consumer to correctly deserialize messages, whether they come from the primary topic or the dead letter queue. In the consumer class, we allow an optional dead letter topic parameter. When a consumer is created, the parameter determines whether a dead letter policy should be applied. When a consumer subscribes to a topic, we check if a dead letter topic is set. If it is, we define a dead letter policy with a max redeliver count. For example, 3 retries before redirecting to the dead letter queue. This ensures that messages that fail processing will be retried up to max redeliver count times. If they still fail, they are moved to the dead letter topic for further investigation. We then create a dead letter consumer that listens to all dead letter topics. This consumer logs the messages and stores them in the database. Later, developers can review these messages, check logs, identify errors, and fix issues accordingly. Additionally, if message processing fails again, we send a notification containing the raw message ensuring visibility into the issue. We initialize the dead letter consumer in our tasks.py by providing a list of all our topics. The topics list can also be defined as a constant, but for this demo, we pass it directly. If you are establishing a new service and want to migrate some of your existing data, Pulsar can be a great tool for this. Not only does it help with data migration, but it also allows you to test your environment, producers, and consumers in real-world conditions. One approach I recommend is to create a Django management command that fetches existing records from the database, sends them to the appropriate Pulsar topics, ensures proper logging and error handling. This way you can seamlessly migrate data without disrupting your existing system. The command I've implemented does exactly that, retrieving all records from user and order tables and publishing them to Pulsar topics. When dealing with large databases, it's efficient to process records in smaller batches instead of sending everything at once. This allows for better control over the migration process and prevents system overload. Adding a small pause between batches ensures that system can handle the load. Good logging is crucial throughout the migration process to track progress, detect issues, and ensure everything runs smoothly. This approach not only helps with smooth data migration but also allows you to validate the new service in real-world conditions by testing the entire flow from producer to Pulsar topic and consumers. Now that we understand the theory behind dead letter topic, let's move on to the demo and see it in action. For this demo, I intentionally introduce a conversion error in the order consumer. This causes the message to fail and the consumer negatively acknowledges the messages, which triggers the dead letter policy. After the maximum retry limit is reached, the message is sent to the dead letter topic and consumed by the dead letter consumer. Here is how the test works. I create a new order through Postman, which triggers the producer to send the message. The message is processed by the order consumer. Due to the intentional error, the message fails and is negatively acknowledged. In the consumer logs, we see that the message fails. Once the maximum retries are reached, the message is moved to the dead letter topic and consumed by the dead letter consumer. The dead letter consumer saves the messages in the database. In the terminal, we see logs indicating that the message was processed by the dead letter consumer. Finally, I check the database to ensure the message has been saved in the dead letter table. This demonstrates how failed messages are handled and stored for later analysis, allowing us to investigate what went wrong. Now let's test data migration. Before we start, I've cleared all the data from database, so it's empty right now. You can see here that the user table is completely blank. Now let's run our migration command, migrate data to notification service. In the terminal, you can see the logs showing that the command is running smoothly. The logs indicate that everything is being processed as expected. Now let me switch over the consumer service. If I scroll through the terminal here, you will notice a bunch of Pulsar logs confirming that messages are being consumed. Next, let's check the user table in the database again. As you can see, it's no longer empty. There are now records in the table. Of course, in a real-world application, it's always a good practice to check the logs and verify that the records have been migrated correctly. At the very least, you should compare the number of records to ensure everything is transferred successfully. That's the end of our demo on migrating data with Pulsar. We have covered the processing records, handling failures with dead letter topics, and migrating data to a new service. This is the last video in our series on building microservices in Django with Apache Pulsar. Thanks for watching and feel free to reach out with any questions.